Good morning. My name is Andrew Hall. You may call me Dr. Kennard. This is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. So much fun this morning planned for all of you. We're going to be talking about Texas and teaching the controversy about the Holocaust. We're going to talk about a real life example of someone who is vaccine hesitant, who changed their minds, and exactly what were the elements that helped this person change their opinion about getting the vaccine. Before, they didn't take the vaccine, weren't planning to get the vaccine, and afterwards, they got the jab. So what happened in between? That's the really interesting part I really want to talk about later on. And of course, we're going to be talking about Senator Elizabeth Warren just attacking Amazon, saying Amazon should be broken up. This is once again the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. Let's get this started. First story, everyone, from Texas. If you haven't heard about this sad, true story, this is all true, horribly true. Links in the description below, folks. Texas school administrator told teachers to include Holocaust books with opposing views when explaining the new state law. So much to unpack there. What are the opposing views of the Holocaust? 6 million Jews, Roma, people with disabilities, dead, horrible thing, genocide on an industrial scale that had never been seen before. What's the opposing view on that, and why would they need to teach an opposing view on a scholarly consensus on the Holocaust? So many good questions. Let's get in there. A school district superintendent in North Texas apologized Thursday night after one of the district's administrators told teachers that if they have books about the Holocaust in their classroom libraries, then they should also include books that have opposing views of the Holocaust. I can't make this up. Texas is stranger than fiction, everyone. Texas is stranger than fiction. At a training session last week, a school administrator with Carroll ISD in Southlake, Texas, tried to advise elementary school teachers on how to follow new district guidelines for the vetting of textbooks. The guidelines were issued in an attempt to align with a controversial law in Texas that seeks to restrict the discussion of race and history in schools. I don't know how you can teach history about the Holocaust without race. Wait, you can't. You can't. Story continues. The training session was first reported by NBC News after teachers expressed frustration and confusion over the new guidelines. Gina Petty, executive, I love that word. I just made that word up. Director of Curriculum and Instruction for the district, invoked the Holocaust as an example of a historic event that would require a teacher to keep on hand other books with opposing views. I want to read it again. The executive director of Curriculum and Instruction for the district invoked the Holocaust as an example of a historic event that would require a teacher to keep on hand other books with opposing views. So the teachers didn't even ask the instructor about the Holocaust. The instructor just came up, jazz hands, just came up with the idea all on her own that, hey, you want to know a good example about what subject you should really teach the controversy about? The Holocaust. That's what Gina Petty came up with, everyone. Next panel. Just try to remember the concepts of Texas House Bill 3979, Petty says, referring to the new law known as HB 3979. And make sure that if you have a book on the Holocaust, that you have one that has other perspectives. How do you oppose the Holocaust? One teacher could be heard asking. Believe me, Petty said in a longer recording obtained by NBC, that came up. You see, Gina Petty was recorded, secretly recorded by one of the teachers, and that's where the gravy is. So, because people say crazy things when they say what they really mean, don't they? When they don't think they're being recorded. And this woman, Petty, said basically, you got to teach both sides of the Holocaust. I think we know what the opposing view on the Holocaust is, don't we, Microphone? Microphone knows what the opposing view of the Holocaust is. Then what's the scholarly consensus? There's more. It's actually a long article. I'm only doing a couple of panels, but if you want to read the whole thing, it's links are in the description, of course. The state law was a catalyst for the discussion. At the heart of the incident is confusion of the law, which limits conversations about race and history in schools. Laws introduced in state legislatures. These have been driven largely over the potential teachings of critical race theory. For those of you who don't know what critical race theory is, and vis-a-vis how you teach history, it's just history. It's just basically critical race theory is pretty much history and sociology that certain white people don't like, that conservatives don't like. We've learned so much today that Texas can be stranger than fiction, and that critical race theory is really sociology and history and economics, when you really get down to it, that evangelical white Christians don't like. Critical race theory recognizes that systemic racism is part of American society and challenges the beliefs that allow it to flourish. While the theory was started decades ago as a way to examine how laws and systems promote inequality, it has taken on new urgency since a series of killings last year of Black Americans by police officers, which led to a national reckoning on race. There you go. Critical race theory. Parents, white parents in Texas, all jazzed up by Fox News, OAN, and Newsmax about critical race theory, because that's the drumbeat on those conservative channels, of course. You got to create a brown or black skin boogeyman to energize your political base, and that's what Republicans do. These parents were super concerned about critical race theory in schools. These are the same people. This is the same group of people who were super concerned, or are super concerned, about having a gay teacher teach your kids algebra or chemistry. The same lot, everyone. So you may not know this, but I do a small satirical blog on Pathos Non-Religious, Laughing in Disbelief. It's the same name as this channel. I came up with a book, 10 books, proposed books that would teach the controversy about the Holocaust. These are satirical books, everyone, before you start getting angry and start leaving comments. Here we go. So the first book of the proposed Teaching the Controversy of the Holocaust is Adolf Hitler and Nancy Pelosi. Who is the real Hitler? Second book that's going to teach the controversy in Texas to school children, Keeping the Trains Running on Time. The third book that's going to be put into libraries in elementary schools in Texas, White Pride in 1933 to 1945 Germany. And of course, and you're probably singing, if you know the song, it's Springtime for Nazi Germany. Another book, Who Were the Real Victims of the Holocaust? Man, this video is going to get just banned pretty fast. The next one, Jack and Jill Hate the Versailles Treaty. Look, everyone, I know I make jokes that are very obscure that you may appreciate. That Microphone understands that the Versailles Treaty was the treaty that ended World War I, and that Hitler used and the Nazis used to undermine the rightful democratic government of Germany. Back to the cheap jokes, everyone. Okay, they're not cheap jokes. Maybe they're $1.25 jokes. I don't know. Love, Laugh, and Aryan Living. The next book that Texas schools are going to need to have in their libraries, The Ubermensch and the Giant Peach. Fashionistas of the Third Reich, and the last book that Texas schools are going to have in their libraries to teach the controversy about the Holocaust. Are you there, God? It's me, Adolf. Now, that doesn't get me banned. I don't know what will, everyone. I'm going to check out the chat. And the thing is, we make jokes because the world is so dark, right? Because that's why. We get to laugh a little bit. We get to have a couple of chuckles as we face adversity. All right. What's up, 420 Atheist? Good morning. What's up, Jess M? Oh, Dee Parks. It's a glorious Friday. A glorious Friday. What's up, Simply Secular Dave? The thumb, you know, it was literally like maybe 20 minutes before the show started, and I realized I hadn't done a thumbnail, a proper thumbnail. I'm going, oh, I should really. But it sums up, like, what the hell is going on with Texas? We all know, though, evangelical Christianity, that's what's wrong with Texas. 420 Atheist says they have a fondness for teaching opposing views of reality. Exactly. First God, then evolution, slavery, and now the Holocaust. Yeah. Yeah. It's almost as if bad ideas like cancer metastasize. They spread throughout the body. Cancer spreads through, of course, our physical bodies, while bad ideas, toxic ideas, these memes spread through the body politic. All the best people are here. I think so, Dee Parks. Jess M. I think I'd say hello. Jess the Ranger. What do you have to say? Jess the Ranger always has something interesting to say. When you hang around National Socialists, you start asking National Socialist questions. That's right, Jess the Ranger. What's up, Tobin? Glad to see that you're here. 420 Atheists. I always forget to ask people. We're already halfway through the show. Jesus. Remember to rub the tummy and like the button. Indeed. All right, did I say hello? I think it's Scott Duke. Glad to see that you're here this morning, Cryptameria. All right, Chris Mallard. What's Chris Mallard doing here? What are you doing here? I know, we were talking about National Socialists, and Chris had to pop in and say hello. All right, we got to get to the next story, everyone. Once again, there's no open room today. I have to work on the secret project. And so there's no open room. This show's going to go until about 9:25. Next story. So Sanjay Gupta from CNN, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, sat down with Joe Rogan. I'm not covering that story because it doesn't tell us anything new. Sanjay Gupta sat down, talked with Joe Rogan for 3 hours. I could spend the next 10 minutes talking about it, but I'm not, because I want to talk about how to change hearts and minds. This is a real story about how someone who is vaccine hesitant got the jab. And of all places, it occurred in Florida. What? Yeah, microphone doesn't believe this either. It happened in Florida? Happened in Florida, everyone. Real story. Check out the link to the full story in the description below. Here we go. Florida doctor convinces a stranger at a restaurant to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Quote, humbled. And here's a picture of the doctor as well as the person he convinced, talking about building bridges, everyone. Here we go. Doctor on the left, the vaccine hesitant individual on the right. Take a look at that and about how he was able to change the other guy's mind. If that doesn't give you motherfucking hope, I don't know what does. Oh, we do hope here, microphone. We do hope sometimes. It isn't all just shadows and thunder and lightning. Dr. Dwayne Mitchell didn't expect to convince a stranger to get vaccinated against COVID-19 when he went to a restaurant for dinner in Gainesville, Florida over the summer. Mitchell, the director of the University of Florida's Clinical Translational Science Institute, sat at the bar of the restaurant next to a man named Mark Hall. The men started talking and eventually discussed the coronavirus pandemic and vaccines. Hall said he was opposed to the vaccine, although his wife had received her shot. Good job, Mrs. Hall. He really started rattling off a lot of things that he had heard, the reasons why he wasn't planning on taking the vaccine, Mitchell told USA Today. I debated him a little bit on some of those issues, not in a speaking in tongues, everyone, excuse me, not in a confrontational way, but just saying, let me give you a different point of view. Or here's some information that we've certainly learned since the rollout of the vaccine, Mitchell said. In a video published by UF Health last week, Hall explained he was critical of COVID-19 vaccines for multiple reasons, including seeing conflicting information from news outlets. But the longer he spoke with Mitchell, the more he began to change his mind. The men stayed at the restaurant and talked about the vaccine for over 3 hours. He would just clarify it and simplify it and make it make sense, Hall told USA Today. So there is something called the veil of knowledge. What is the veil of knowledge? You can ask me, microphone. Microphone wants to know. The veil of knowledge is when someone is so good at their discipline, who is so knowledgeable about, let's say, medicine, if you're a doctor, that they are unable to explain their knowledge to everyday people. And that's one of the things, this is one of the problems here in the States, is that exceptionally smart and qualified people do not know how to talk to people, everyday people. But this gentleman, Dr. Mitchell, was able to do so. The story continues, folks. Hall, a general contractor, said he was concerned that if there was a problem with the vaccine, he and his wife might not be able to care for their child. That's a realistic concern, right? That's at least a concern that's not, I'm not going to do it because I want to irritate liberals. I was looking at, well, if something is bad with a vaccine and she's vaccinated, unfortunately, maybe it would affect her, but I wouldn't be affected, so I could still be around for our child, Hall said. And Mitchell said, well, if you were going on a family vacation, would you all three take separate cars? Because the probability of you dying in a car crash is much greater than dying from vaccination. And Hall said, I literally laughed. I was like, no, I guess that makes sense. See, so Mitchell was able to couch the argument with some humor, lighthearted humor. I think we as atheists and skeptics have a tendency of fact-fucking people. We just overload people with facts as against to treating a conversation like it's a conversation and not a debate. Hall reached out to Mitchell just days later, asking to schedule an appointment to get his COVID-19 vaccine. UF Health shared a clip of Mitchell looking as Hall received his shot. This is something that we've covered before about changing people's opinion, and we mentioned it yesterday on the after party after show. The people, once they change their opinions, have a tendency of drifting back to their original erroneous belief. What was important is that Mitchell followed up. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He followed up and helped this guy get the jab. Job well done, sir. As a medical professional and researcher, one of our key responsibilities is trying to get information to the public in a way that is meaningful and ideally results in positive change, Mitchell said. This pandemic has been a challenge, obviously, for the entire society on many levels, but I think it's challenged us in the healthcare and health delivery fields to really think about how the public receives information and how we can communicate that information in a way that's effective. Hall called this conversation with Mitchell a real, genuine back and forth. It's kind of like talking to your friend after a while. I felt I knew him. I asked personal questions, and it was comforting. And I trusted him, Hall said. Pretty impressive. And now we've also covered this point too about how to change hearts and minds on a large scale. So while Dr. Mitchell was able to change this gentleman's mind, right? What's important is that this story gets out to everyone, especially amongst people in Hall's tribe. Because what happens is that, and we know this from counterinsurgency tactics, If you can take someone from the other side and change their opinion, then that means when they go back into their community, they are now a poster child for doing the right thing. And once again, there are a lot of analogies with memes, right? You cure the person of this infectious meme in their mind, and then you send them back into their tribe, and there's a far greater chance of that positive meme that they have just by an example, right? Of Hall being an example of getting vaccinated. He is now a poster child for other folks within his clique to get the jab. It's a very moving story. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about moving the ball down the field, about what it takes to actually change people's minds. And I think this story is a great example of that. Right? A bit of hope here on Friday morning. How about that? But you didn't expect to see that, huh? All right, let's check out the chat. See what's going on. Man, I only have 3 minutes left. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to the Senator Warren story. Basically, Senator Warren wants to break up Amazon because Amazon's recent shenanigans. This is the thing, right? Little Nazi women. That's right, Scott Duke. That would be an excellent book, call back to the first story, an excellent book that Texas would tell teachers to put in their school libraries to teach the controversy, of course, about the Holocaust. Chris Mallard. Once again, always pleasure to see Chris. Winnie the Pooh, and yes, and that guy too. Exactly, Simply Secular Dave. Wow, I miss so much by doing news stories and not paying attention to the chat. All right. Idea, drink, that's right, Dave. Cryptameria says, evangelicals make me want the rapture to happen so they won't be around here and make everyone miserable. Yeah, I think a lot of us feel that way at times. Yes, my Yeti mic did die. My Yeti mic did die, so now my mic has googly eyes. That's what the mic is here for now. Let's see. I think happiness, right? A very positive story about this gentleman who was this doctor who was able to change someone's opinion about getting vaccinated. All right, I think I got everyone. Good to see you, bigzebra.com. All right. Nice seeing you too, Chris Mallard writes. We need to make our empty threats about getting together and do something funny. I know, dude. Wouldn't it feel right if we ended up the show and didn't make the threat? The thing, with my new job and with the secret project that's launching in November, I've been, and of course, doing my regular stuff. It's been difficult for me to keep my schedule organized because I'm supposed to be working on stuff with Jimmy Lou, which I watched his show last night, Jimmy Lou on the Tang Network. Funny guy. I think I saw some of you here on this chat on that show last night. They're doing good work over there on the Tang Network. What's up, Slade? You know what? I'm just going to do something funny. I'm going to show you a funny video. This is pretty good. And then we'll wrap everything up.
Moved to LA when I was 25 to try to be an actor, and I learned it's very hard to make it as an actor. When you're bad at acting, that doesn't help at all. And not for lack of trying either. I auditioned for a lot of Chads, numerous Brads, even some Tads. I had range, I dibbled and dabbled at Brendan's and Brandon's, and weird process auditioning. You just get an email that says character description, douchey looking prick that everyone hates, fuck this guy, smug, cheese dick, date rapist, racist, I hope he kills himself. And then a note from my agent that was like, thought you'd be a good fit. You'd be really pretty on the nose, if anything.
Good stuff, everyone. Going to check out the chat one more time before busting. Take care, Chris. Good seeing you, brother. Good to see you, everyone. So Monday, I will see you all on Monday doing the normal show, normal time. Today, once again, no after party, after show, because secret project. And I can't, how many more days before the secret project is supposed to launch? I don't know, man. I guess it's like a little bit over 2 weeks. And once the secret project is no longer secret, we'll talk all about it, right? Take care, everyone. Shamla Hamla, right? I'm going to throw down the thank you video. Forgot to, blah, blah. There's no ads here. Whatever you contribute, thank you. I appreciate it. Just working in the comedy mines, folks. That's what I'm doing, working in the comedy mines.